TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Shalom, shalom from Israel.
Well, you know, the UN this week is conducting an investigation against Israel human rights violations in the war in Gaza from Hamas right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I mean, look around the world today and see all the mistreating of people, right?
Everywhere, yeah. And look at what Hamas did to Israel during the same war that they're investigating us, right?
Yeah.
And so
they started the whole thing off with a double war crime. That's firing from their civilian places into our civilian places, trying to kill our civilians. That's how the war started, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, another thing is from this past war is, you know, the civil war was almost kicked off here. Israel decided to wake up. You know, since the early 70s, the police force here in Israel hasn't grown by one. So they figured it's time to start growing, right?
Yeah. It's pretty well known here in Israel, if you have a problem, don't call the police because they ain't coming anyway.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, I think, is because Israel never had to really deal with the crimes and stuff like other countries did, like America does, right?
Yeah.
It's
amazing. It's amazing.
Well, Hamas is asking for 1,111 terrorists to be released for the two hostages that they still have that they've had for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, and that's a couple kids that just wandered across the border out, you know.
Yeah.
And also they have two in the grave that we want back real bad too.
Right.
And they're not even talking about doing that for their 1,101 or whatever.
Yeah, 1,111. 1111.
Yeah.
Well, because, you know, this past war also there was a couple times where there was a direct hit into bomb shelters in apartments. Israeli intelligence has gotten information from Hamas that they're now building short range, because they can't do it very long range, to the neighborhoods around Gaza, more precise rockets so that they can aim straight at people's bomb shelters.
Yeah, that's very sad. You know, that shows you their mentality.
Yep.
They don't build bomb shelters for their people.
Nope, they don't have to.
No, as a matter of fact, they shoot from the balconies of their homes with missiles, right? So we'll come in and we always go shoot right back where the missile came from.
Right.
So that's a very sad situation.
Yep.
But you know, we've talked about this. The world's talked about this. The whole world knows about this. But the spiritual climate in the world today seems to be against Israel and America, or anything that's righteous, or anything that has to do with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Absolutely.
It's amazing that good is bad and bad is good. But you know, that's prophecy too. You read Daniel, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely.
It's really sad what's happening in this election is something else.
We're getting to it. Yeah, we're getting to it. One thing I heard that's actually I'm really happy to hear here in Israel. You know, Israel was the first country to go for the vaccine. In America, it passed that the vaccine now is good for kids and to start vaccinating kids. The Israeli Ministry of Health put out a statement last night saying that they do not recommend to vaccinate to all parents in Israel. Do not vaccinate your children.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
You know, a lot of people say it's the conspiracy people that say stay away from the vax. But I've been reading a lot of stuff. It brings a lot of stuff to questions. It really does. It doesn't seem to be a real definitive answer to whether you should or shouldn't take it. It depends on what side of the thing you're on. But here in Israel, the vaccine seems to have been almost a miracle.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, we spent well over a year locked down.
Yeah, and it's like Corona never was now all of a sudden.
It's everything's back to normal in Israel. I realized I read on the internet just the other day that they're dropping dead like flies all over Israel from Corona. But
we don't see it.
In Israel, there's no one sitting. We don't even have many flies.
Yeah. Well, one of the main reasons why the Ministry of Health here in Israel has put out strong recommendations not to vaccinate your children is because the vaccination in children seems to cause an infection of the muscle in the heart, which is not nothing serious. It's very easy to be taken care of, and it's something that has happened before the vaccine. It's just they say there's no reason to. Why put your kids through it when, like you just said, that's what they said, that we're back to normal. I think we've had 3 new cases.
Yeah.
That's it. And none of them are going to the hospital. No serious cases or anything.
No, we don't know. We're trying to find out. You know, the few. I don't think too many doctors of this caliber is what out there listening to me right now. So I can just talk to us. You know who us is? That's me and you. And you.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure what's going on here with it. There's so much information that seems to be true. It seems to be substantial. It seems to be from very critical and very reliable and ethical people. It's a sad thing. So for those people who have taken the vaccine, the only thing they can do now is just sit and smile and talk to God and say, "Please, God, Lord, help me." If I made a mistake, help me. If I didn't,
absolutely
help those people who said that I made one. You know?
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
Because another thing is, if you look at the other side of the coin, we on the one hand and then on the other hand. But if you look on the other hand, it's if you're a person that you're telling everybody don't take it, and you find out that you are the one who are killing people, so it's just something to pray about. You better be sure that God's giving you the right direction.
The thing we just laughed about, One Hand on the Other Hand, is a very good movie. It's called Fiddler on the Roof. Yeah, for one hand and on the other hand. So just in case you didn't get that reference, I'll tell you what was I thought was quite amazing is the Arab journalists in Gaza are speaking out. Now in Gaza, it's not a place where you can speak out.
They put them in prison for that.
Or kill you or anything else. And they're speaking out about the Hamas leaders and how all the money that's been given in the past and the money. Hundreds of millions, almost $1 billion now promised, but hundreds of millions been given already. How they time and time again don't put it into the cities and to the people, and they just take it for themselves. And they showed their enormous mansions that they live in. Insane amount of money, and all the weapons and all the stuff that they build instead of putting it into the city. And so the journalists are finally speaking out about it, which is great.
But this thing about the Palestinians leaders having multi-million-dollar homes, that's been happening since the 70s. We've been in the 70s now. But I remember in Beth Sahor and Beit Jela and Bethlehem and Hebron, everywhere you go, when you look around, you see these giant, monstrous villas that just unbelievable. It must cost at least $10 million.
Yeah.
And it's a home of a man and his wife and 2 kids, right?
Right.
So it's
and
that's all over the West Bank or Judea.
Yeah, that's old news. Like you said, that's been going on forever. But what's new is the journalists are in their neighborhoods are finally speaking up.
Finally getting brave enough to speak up.
Yeah, I think that's great.
That's good.
Well, now to the topic of the hour. Your our favorite subject, the government that's being put together now. 2 hours. 2 hours before the expiration of Lapid's mandate, chance to make a coalition in a government, him and Bennett sat with Mansour Abbas, the United Arab List leader, who is a known terrorist supporter, by the way, and in our government now, and sat with him 2 hours before the time was up to make a coalition, and signed away basically most of the Negev to give them rights to build Arab neighborhoods and everything else, just whatever it took to get him to make a coalition with him.
I'll tell you what Bennett has done. He has proven to be number one over Netanyahu on being hated by the Israelis.
Yeah.
I believe he has taken over the number one spot away from Netanyahu. And Netanyahu is hated by so many people here in Israel.
Yeah.
The picture the people have, the mental picture of people all around the world have, and is not the same as. Now that's not to say.
Yeah.
It's not to say that he doesn't have a lot of supporters. He just got 30 seats in this last election. So
yeah, BBA the most.
So it seems like the people that do hate him with a passion.
Oh yeah.
But there's a parallel going on here.
Yep.
You've seen it, and I
Absolutely.
think the world's seeing it, and that's parallel between Israel and America. What's happening in America and Trump is happening here in Israel and Netanyahu. and it seems like well, always on the left, the liberal side of everything, we're seeing them rise up with fury and a hatred toward righteousness and families almost. They just don't like family life anymore, I guess. They want. We just had yesterday a gay parade in Jerusalem. I think 8,000 people showed up for it, walking up and down the street. I saw them on television this morning.
In Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, and it's not the first time. It's the world's just sick.
Yep.
It needs Jesus is what it needs. It
Absolutely.
needs Yeshua HaMashiach.
Amen. Amen. Well, Bennett has made this deal with Lapid and Abbas and all the rest of them, and then Meretz and Avodah, which all of these people are way pro two-state solution, to sign away, give a state to the Palestinians. And it's at the same time now, like you said, when in America you have Biden, who's also pushing for a two-state solution. And that's just, it looks like we're going down a really bad road really fast.
Yeah, well, this guy was wrong talking to Bennett yesterday. You was just speaking about that. What Bennett just did, in my way of thinking, what he just sold the Negev to the Palestinians.
Absolutely.
I mean, he just opened it up. They don't have to have any permission now to build new homes, new settlements, new anything. We can't even add to a balcony to our home or anything else without written approval.
Absolutely.
But just giving them everything. And if you lived anywhere around Beersheba, Arad, or Sadie Boker, or any of those places in that area down there in the Negev, you'd be seriously thinking about moving about now. Or
absolutely,
arming up very good anyway, because it's been bad anyway. The crime in the Negev is the worst in the whole country.
By the Bedouins.
By the Bedouins too. They think it's their privilege to steal everything they can from the Jews at any time they can, any way they can.
Yep, it's true. And also Bennett, just last night they signed, and he's got first rotation. And the first thing that he came out to say, as like they would say in America, the prime minister elect, the first thing he had to say to state was, number one, he's not moving to the capital as the prime minister. He's going to stay in Ra'anana. And number two, he's going to do everything he can to help out the gays and lesbians and all that. Those are the two most important things that he had to say as soon as he got elected. He was going into be prime minister.
And if you could just imagine someone running for the president of the United States and only got 5% of the vote.
5%. 95% of the country did not, would not, and will not vote for him.
That's it. So he only got 5% of the vote, and he's going to be the prime minister. I have so much trouble trying to understand that. The same way I'm trying to understand how in this world did Biden ever become the president of the United States.
Yeah, well, he got at least he got more than 5%.
Yeah, but see, there's another parallel.
Yeah.
That's another parallel. It's amazing what happened in America and how it's happening in Israel, or vice versa.
That is ridiculous. Think about it. 5%, 95% of the country did not vote for him, and he's going to sit as prime minister.
Oh, it's bad. That's bad. This Knesset seat, by the way, is if you think about it, you got Gantz, Lebanon, Saar, and Bennett. Now, you can't. If you know the history of any of these four guys that's in the top of this new coalition they're trying to put together, or say they put together, if you know anything about the history of these four guys, there's one thing you would never want to call any of them would be liberal. They're not. So they're not a liberal. But now they brought in, two liberal parties and an Arab party into the government. It's an impossibility. It's like suicide. There's no way this thing can stay together very long.
I hope so. I hope not. Yeah, no, I hope so. I hope you're right, that they can't stay together very long. I hope so.
Oh, this world is a mess. It really is a mess. This is all happening at a time, too, also when this ministry's trying to get everything ready for the Jews in Europe are living in terror. I mean, they can't even hardly leave their homes without a police escort. It's terrible. So and the airport was already been closed down once by these things, and the real war hadn't even got started yet.
Right.
So it's not going to be. It's going to be very short time before this ministry is ready to take off with boats to try to rescue as many European Jews as we can, because they're going to be. There's another Holocaust. So not on the horizon. It's in the form and processing right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're walking up and down the streets in Germany, the neo-Nazis, claiming "kill the Jews, kill the Jews." Who is a Jew? They have a microphone. Who is a Jew? If you're a Jew, come out. Let us see. It sounds like the Quran said. There'll be a tree and a rock will say, "There's a Jew behind us. Come and kill him." Right.
Right.
So it's really sad what's happening. But what's sad for us here in the Golden Report is we're not ready right now. We don't have the logistics or the finances to put things together. We've been working for years to put together communications and
decades,
and contacts and everything all over this part of the world to save Jewish lives. And now, all of a sudden, the Corona shut us down nearly financially. Now, we're really hurting. So we really need your help.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you get so you know when a new video comes out. Yeah. Well, that was about it. Don't forget to join us on the goldenreport.com, and until next week.
Shalom, shalom from Israel.